So Nora, welcome to Croatia. You have just done an amazing set at the main stage. How are you feeling?
Thank you so much. I loved it. It was my first time Ultra Croatia or Ultre Europe, and I really liked it. The crowd was into it, and I had an early set, so I had to build it a little bit, and I thought it was really good. I liked it.
You started with one of my favorite songs, and then you've let it gradually evolve into an amazing melodic drive. How did you prepare for this set tonight?
Well, first of all, I'm happy to see that you really listened to it. How I prepared? Well, I figured at the beginning there wouldn't be too many people, just maybe some fans that really want to be there for my set time. So I started with a classic, and then I just gradually built it a little bit, thinking that probably more and more people will come, and that was pretty much the case. I built in some classics here and there, some unreleased stuff, as well as some upcoming releases on my label, Purified. And so I connect the bits and pieces like that.
How do you, what is the creative process with building such a sonic journey?
Well, I have to be careful that it's not too melodic. Every now and then you need to bring the groove again, otherwise it's just too emotional, which can happen quickly with my music. So I just have to build a journey with that. I always try to bring vocals in every now and then, because for me I could play forever without vocals. The melodies for me are enough, but I try to always make a good pattern of bringing vocal tracks, bringing tracks that are more rhythmical than melodic or emotional, so to create a good balance with that.
So you are creating journeys in your EPs and your albums and also in your sets. Do you think that's one of the important stuff to give to the listeners, that emotional journey from the beginning to the end?
Well, I think in music everything is about emotion, or for me it is. I can't really connect with music that is too superficial. You might have guessed. But yeah, all in all, I try to take the listener out of the busy life. We're so caught up in our lives, which is often meaningless stuff that stresses us out. And I find that peace and grounding feeling in nature, and I try to incorporate that into the tracks to bring that feeling to the listener. And melodies usually hit straight in the heart, and the organic sounds should make you feel at peace, you know?
Definitely. I listen to your music while I meditate.
Oh, yeah?
So yeah, of course. So how do you create that organic sound? Do you just use synths, or do you use objects around yourself, or do you just go in nature and listen to the timbre and everything that is surrounding you and then bring it into the studio?
It depends really on the track. Sometimes I hear samples that inspire me. Sometimes I hear soundtracks in movies that inspire me. Sometimes I'm somewhere in the nature and I hear noises and I think it's amazing. I should try to bring that kind of feeling into the next track. I've done recordings myself out in nature. They haven't turned out that great. So most of the times it's samples or textures that I have downloaded in some bundles, and I try to layer a lot. I have a lot of organic sounds that make you feel like you're out in nature.
You have your own label,
yeah.
Purify Records. How important is it for you to give a platform to young and emerging talent? And what would you advise someone that is just starting out?
To me, it's very important because I feel our sound is quite different than what is out there as club music, right? There are so many labels. Where I feel sometimes it's not necessary. It's also a lot of work for an artist to have a label on the side. But I feel it makes sense here because I have the Purified radio show and the events. So a label makes sense to build the whole brand as one and to just strengthen that particular sound that is not super well known yet and is not super popular right away because it's more mellow and it's more laid back, and you need to appreciate those sounds to understand it, I suppose. So therefore the label is very important, and we have so many young artists that I think they barely, they started from scratch, and we don't care at all if you have a history or not. For us, what matters is the music in the very first line. And second, if you have sort of a similar vision like us. Like we are obviously not really interested in artists that just once want to try, okay, let's do a bit that sound, and then they change again, and then like you have to live that and really feel that. And but yeah, so I think we give quite a good platform. Every now and then we release also stuff from bigger artists, but we try to really, as soon as you send us music that is solid, we care zero if you've had one release or 100 releases or none, So yeah, it's growing. It's really good, and I think we managed to introduce some talents already to some listeners that maybe would have remained undiscovered.
So you definitely have a recognizable sound, unique tone. How did you? I know that's a process, but how did you start building? You said you draw inspiration from movies as well?
Yeah.
Are there any specific movies that come to mind?
Well, so big blockbusters, of course. Many things that were written by Hans Zimmer, of course, are freaking, mind-blowing. But even Netflix series have some amazing soundtracks here and there that already, just when you hear it, makes you feel like you're part of that series almost, right? And I like that even in the music, when it makes you feel like you're part of that, whatever is happening. But yeah, for the specific sound, I think I was always drawn to the organic sounds more than the electronic, which makes the music a bit less club typical. So I would say sometimes it's what makes me stick out and be different, but it's also sometimes a disadvantage because, I'm being put on really big stages and I have this organic, cute sound. So at times it's challenging, and not everyone understands it. For some, it's for sure boring or they can't relate to it, but everyone does their thing, and I think I found a good niche that is really what I feel. So that is all what counts, I guess. And that is also what I suggest to any young producer, to find your niche and do really what drives you. Don't try copy too much. Don't try to follow the trend. I know it's easy to fall into that trap, especially if you get turned down by labels one after another and you feel like, okay, I guess I have to do what the label does. But in that case, I always suggest maybe send an EP. The first one sounds a little bit like the label. The rest sounds like you. But yeah, just to do your own thing, really.
Before we finish off, do you have any new releases you can tell us about?
Well, what's next? We've been releasing so many things right now. So this summer is like I think we just released it on the streaming platforms, but it's like a little ode to Come With Me, because Come With Me was now 10 years ago. So long already, don't know where the time went. But yeah, so we have a similar track. We kind of took similar beats, similar piano riffs, just to remind of that track. I don't play the original as often anymore because it's just been so long. So that's coming in the summer, pretty soon, I think. And then I think till end of the year, we almost have every month something, but I don't even know right now what is scheduled when.
Thank you so much, Nora. Thank you so much.